Trump. Joining me now on set is Florida Republican Congressman Byron Donalds. He spoke here at the convention earlier this week. Congressman, thanks so much for being here on a big night. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. You guys have a great seat, by the way. You got all the views for your video, or the video audience out there.
We do. We have one of the best seats in the House. That is for sure. Well, appreciate your being here. Former President Trump has said in the wake of the horrific incident this weekend, the assassination attempt against his life, that he's torn up his speech. He's rewritten it, that it's going to be a message of unity. I wonder what you anticipate. Will it be a message that is aimed at reaching out to the whole country, or will this be a message that's aimed at reaching out to all Republican voters? What are you anticipating?
If I was going to take a guess, if you look at the way the first 3 nights of this convention have unfolded, everything has been about all of the American people. Whether it was opening night where you had the head of the Teamsters on that stage, something that has not occurred at a Republican convention in recent memory. You had Hispanic mothers, black mothers talking about what's happened to their kids, Gold Star families whose sons and daughters lost their lives in Afghanistan. Everything in this convention and everything Donald Trump really has been talking about on the campaign trail has been about the American people. I believe you're going to see that tonight. And then it's going to be wrapped in the fact that if we are a unified country as Americans, we can truly make our country great again.
My question for you, as you know, in the beginning of his campaign, former President Trump talked about this idea that he would be voters' retribution. Do you think he's going to back away from that as a campaign message more broadly, even after this convention wraps?
The word probably yes. I think everything is going to be about the success of the American people. And if we're going to provide full context, when he talks about retribution, it was in the vein of success will be that, success for the American people. That's where Donald Trump is going to get his joy, his passion, his energy, not just for the rest of this campaign, but for the next 4 years, is making sure that the American people are successful.
Just to be very clear, he said, for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. You think he's going to back away from that idea on the campaign trail?
It's not even about backing away. I think what he's pivoting towards and where he's going is, this is the recipe for success. I am the person who will bring that success. I'm the leader that can step into that Oval Office, that can step into that arena on the world stage and make sure our country is as prosperous as possible for everybody.
Former President Trump describes himself as a self-proclaimed counterpuncher. It's something that his supporters anticipate. Do you think that we will see that same instinct and frankly, fight in him? Or do you think that this is going to be a tonal change overall?
I would tell you that my view of where the president is right now, he's very contemplative. I think he's really taking this convention, and especially in light of what happened Saturday in Pennsylvania, the attempt on his life. And that gives anybody a broader perspective. I truly believe this is not just a campaign, a presidential campaign, a Republican convention. This is really now about him using the mantle afforded to him by Republican voters to lead this country for the American people. It's a different view. It's a different feel. That's his temperament right now.
Do you think, given that, and given that you've been talking to him, and you do seem to have an insight into where his head is right now, do you think this could lead to some policy changes? Could, for example, he abandon his pledge to pardon the January 6th people who've been convicted for January 6th?
Well, I think, first of all, when you get to some of the January 6th detainees, the Supreme Court has already ruled that the charges that were used in a lot of their cases is a misreading and a misapplication of the law. The Department of Justice is going to have to go back and either remove those convictions or figure out something else. I'm not going to speak for the Department of Justice.
But as you know, there are more than 132 have pleaded guilty to assaulting police officers. Those are people who have pleaded guilty.
But that's a different situation altogether, and I think that Donald Trump will take the time to go through that. I want to be clear what I believe his intentions going forward are. Every policy is designed to promote the American people, not just a segment of the American people, all Americans. In politics, his phraseology might make it sound that it only leans one way, but whether you're black, white, Hispanic, rich, middle income, poor, it's about everybody succeeding. When we all come together as Americans, everybody can succeed.
Just to be clear, because what you are saying, you anticipate some tonal changes on the campaign trail. Do you think it's possible? And it sounds like you're saying he might reevaluate at least, or closely evaluate each of these cases. Do you think it's possible he pulls back on that vow to pardon everyone who was convicted for January 6th?
I think every case is going to be reviewed and looked at. And when you go in there, you got to make those decisions with the legal team in the White House. It is going to be with a full view to make sure that justice was actually done, especially when you consider previous riots in our country where there were either little charges or no charges compared to what happened to people who were charged and convicted, whether they pled guilty or not on January 6th.
Right. And again, I mean, as I said, more than 100 pled guilty to assaulting police officers. Hundreds more pled guilty to various different crimes on that day, that attack against the U.S. Capitol. Let me ask you about another big policy promise for a second Trump term, his vow and calls for mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. Is that something you support, and would it be every non-citizen? How do you see it playing out?
Well, first of all, I do support it, but it's not just me. You have a majority of black voters support this position. A majority of Hispanic voters support this position. A majority of white voters support this position. And let me explain why. Because Americans want to have an immigration process, but it's got to be legal. Our cities are overwhelmed by more than 10 million illegal immigrants. It is not fair to the citizens of America. And to be honest, it actually puts these illegal immigrants in our country in a lurch.
Would it be every non-citizen, though, Congress? Just to be clear, do you understand how it would work? Some people say it's not practical is part of what I'm getting at.
The people who would say it's not practical also are not acknowledging the fact that mass illegal immigration is not practical for the American people. When you go through that process, what's already happened in the past is that you've had people who have self-deported because they do not want to get caught in that apparatus, which then carries them not being able to come into the United States for another 10 years.
Well, and we should note, I haven't seen those polls you were talking about various groups supporting mass deportation, but it is worth noting President Biden did pass some executive actions, and illegal crossings are now at a 3-year low. Let me ask you, though, about what's happening on the Democratic side. Seems to be growing calls for President Biden to pass the torch. It is possible, as we sit here today, that former President Trump could be facing off against a different challenger in November. What is your reaction? Is that what you are bracing? Is the Republican Party bracing for that at this point?
I will tell you that our game plan is not going to change. It could be Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. It doesn't matter. Jimmy Neutron. You put the person up there. It doesn't really matter. The problem for the Democrats is that they cannot explain their agenda. They cannot explain the failures of their agenda. So it doesn't matter who they run. Their policy agenda is their policy agenda. We have a recipe for our country to make it successful.
All right. Congressman Byron Donalds, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.